Donald Trump began his final term as president on January 20, 2025. The nation was deeply divided. Trump's supporters were ecstatic. They believed he would make America great again. His opponents were fearful. They worried he would damage democracy. Trump's inauguration was a somber affair. Security was tight. The crowd was smaller than in previous years. In his speech, Trump promised to unite the country. He called for Americans to come together. However, Trump's words rang hollow for many. His presidency had been marked by division and chaos. He had alienated many Americans with his rhetoric and policies. It remained to be seen if he could truly bring the country together. Trump wasted no time in asserting his authority. He signed a flurry of executive orders. These orders reversed many of the policies of his predecessor. Trump also took steps to reshape the federal judiciary. He appointed several conservative judges to the Supreme Court. These actions delighted Trump's supporters. They saw it as proof that he was fulfilling his campaign promises. However, Trump's opponents were outraged. They accused him of abusing his power. They argued that he was undermining democratic norms. Trump's early actions showed that he intended to govern as he had campaigned, boldly and unconventionally. He seemed undeterred by the controversy that surrounded him. He was determined to leave his mark on America. Despite his early momentum, Trump faced significant challenges. The economy was showing signs of slowing down. The trade war with China was hurting American businesses, and the national debt continued to rise. In addition, Trump's legal troubles continued to mount. He was facing multiple investigations into his business dealings, and there was a growing chorus of voices calling for his impeachment. Trump remained defiant in the face of these challenges. He insisted that he was doing a great job. He dismissed his critics as fake news and enemies of the people. However, it was clear that Trump's presidency was at a crossroads. Section 4. The Court of Public Opinion, a divided verdict. Throughout his presidency, Trump had been a polarizing figure. His approval ratings had consistently hovered around 40%. He was admired by his supporters for his willingness to challenge the status quo. He was reviled by his critics for his divisive rhetoric and policies. As Trump entered his final term, public opinion remained sharply divided. His supporters continued to believe that he was making America great again. They pointed to the strong economy and low unemployment rates as evidence of his success. Trump's opponents, however, argued that his policies were hurting the country. They pointed to the growing national debt, the trade war with China, and the damage to America's standing in the world. Section 5. The Global Stage, Trump's America and the World. Trump's presidency had a profound impact on America's relationships with other countries. His foreign policy decisions were often controversial and sparked intense debate both domestically and internationally. One of his most significant moves was withdrawing the United States from several international agreements, including the Paris Climate Accord. This decision was met with widespread criticism from environmentalists and world leaders who saw it as a step back in the global fight against climate change. Another major decision was pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal, which had been designed to limit Iran's nuclear capabilities in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. Critics argued that this move increased the risk of nuclear proliferation in the Middle East. Trump's administration also imposed tariffs on goods from China, sparking a trade war that affected global markets. These tariffs were intended to address trade imbalances and protect American industries, but they also led to increased costs for consumers and strained economic relations. Similar tariffs were placed on goods from Mexico and Canada, leading to renegotiations of trade agreements like NAFTA, which was replaced by the USMCA. These actions were part of Trump's broader strategy to prioritize American economic interests. These actions had alienated many of America's allies. Long-standing relationships with countries in Europe and Asia were tested, and international summits often highlighted the growing rifts. They had also led to increased tensions with countries like China and Russia. Military posturing and diplomatic confrontations became more frequent, raising concerns about global stability. Trump's supporters argued that he was putting America first. They believed that his tough stance on international issues was necessary to protect American sovereignty and jobs. They believed that he was right to stand up to other countries, even if it meant taking a more confrontational approach. To them, these actions were a sign of strength and leadership, even if it meant damaging relationships. They saw his policies as a necessary correction to what they viewed as years of American concessions on the global stage. Trump's opponents, however, argued that he was making America less safe. They believed that his actions were undermining international alliances that had been built over decades. They believed that he was alienating allies and emboldening adversaries. The strain on NATO and other alliances was seen as weakening the collective security framework that had maintained peace. They argued that his America First approach was actually harming American interests. By focusing narrowly on short-term gains, they contended, Trump was sacrificing long-term stability and cooperation. Section 6. The Economy, a High-Wire Act. The economy is often likened to a high-wire act, balancing growth, stability, and the unpredictable forces of the global market. Trump had inherited a strong economy from his predecessor. The Obama administration had overseen a period of recovery following the Great Recession, with steady job growth and a reduction in the unemployment rate. However, his policies of tax cuts and deregulation had led to a surge in the national debt. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 was a significant legislative achievement for Trump, aimed at stimulating economic growth by reducing the corporate tax rate and providing tax relief to individuals. The trade war with China was also having a negative impact on the economy. Tariffs imposed on Chinese goods led to retaliatory measures, affecting American farmers and manufacturers, and creating uncertainty in global markets. Despite these challenges, the economy continued to grow during Trump's first 3 years in office. Unemployment remained low, and the stock market reached new highs, reflecting investor confidence. However, there were signs that the economy was beginning to slow down. Indicators such as declining business investment and manufacturing output suggested that the period of rapid growth might be coming to an end. Trump's supporters argued that he deserved credit for the strong economy. They believed that his pro-business policies, including tax cuts and deregulation, had created a favorable environment for economic growth. They pointed to the tax cuts and deregulation as evidence of his pro-business policies. These measures were seen as reducing the burden on businesses, encouraging investment, and fostering job creation. Trump's opponents, however, argued that the economy was strong in spite of Trump's policies, not because of them. They contended that the economic growth was a continuation of the momentum from the previous administration. They argued that his policies were actually harming the economy in the long run. Critics pointed to the rising national debt and the potential for future economic instability as significant concerns. The debate over the true impact of Trump's economic policies continues to be a contentious issue. Section 7. A Legacy Yet Unwritten, Trump's Final Act. As Donald Trump entered his final term, it was clear that he was a president who defied easy categorization. His approach to leadership was unconventional, often leaving both his supporters and critics in a state of constant surprise. He was a man of contradictions, capable of both great generosity and profound cruelty. His actions could be unpredictable, yet they always seemed to follow a certain internal logic that only he fully understood. He was a showman who craved attention, and a businessman who valued results. His flair for the dramatic often overshadowed his more pragmatic decisions, making it difficult to separate the man from the myth. Trump's presidency had been a time of great turmoil and division. The nation seemed to be constantly on edge, with every tweet and public statement sparking intense debate and controversy. He had challenged many of the norms of American politics. His disregard for tradition and protocol was both his greatest strength and his most glaring weakness. He had also exposed deep divisions within American society. These divisions were not new, but his presidency brought them to the forefront, forcing the nation to confront its own fractured identity. It was too early to say what Trump's legacy would be. The impact of his policies and his approach to governance would be debated for years to come. Only time would tell whether his presidency would be remembered as a success or a failure. Historians and political analysts would continue to dissect his every move, searching for clues to his true intentions and lasting impact. However, one thing was certain: Donald Trump had left an indelible mark on America. His tenure in office would be remembered as one of the most contentious and transformative periods in modern American history.